Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gerza. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share with you one of my very favorite suites from the August-December mini, the Snowflake Splendor suite. Now, honestly, you guys, this suite is stunning. There's a reason I left it near the end of my Christmas video series because I love it so much, saving the best for last. So let me show you what's in the suite as we're waiting for people to join, and then I'll talk a little bit about projects we're going to do today. So first of all, let me show you where you can find it in the catalog. It's on page 36 and 37. And let me tell you guys, this DSP is stunning. The photos in the catalog never do it justice. I'm going to show them to you up close. They are gorgeous, okay? Features a bundle. We've got an embossing folder, some awesome glimmer paper, some awesome embellishments, and some beautiful ribbons. So I'm going to show you all of those products today. Let me, just before we get too far in here, pull up my video on my iPad so I can see who's joining us. I got cat hair up my nose. I had a cat sitting on me earlier and she's shedding like crazy. All right, let's see. Okay, we've got Krista and Louise and Deb. Sunny and warm in Calgary. It is snowing like crazy here, Deb. We actually had a quote-unquote weather-impacted learning day, which means we don't have snow days anymore. We actually just all stay home and learn online. It was great. Not. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the Snowflake Splendor suite. I love this suite. So first of all, we have the bundle, right? So we've got dies and stamps, gorgeous snowflake stamp set. I think this is probably my favorite snowflake stamp set we have ever made. We carry one almost every year, but I absolutely love the images in this. I love it because they're watercolory. Okay, so they're kind of soft. And that's right up my alley. And then some awesome sort of punny sentiments with really beautiful fonts. And there's even a Happy Hanukkah stamp, which is really helpful to have. And, oh, Judy's here from Wawa. How are things up in Wawa? I bet it's snowy up there too, Judy. Then we, of course, have the coordinating dies. Now, these dies are awesome. So we have dies that cut out stamped images. They also cut out some of the images in the DSP. Then we have dies that cut just snowflakes. We have this one that cuts an awesome window. We're going to use, I'll show you a project where I cut the window, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with the negative from that. And then this one cuts a peekaboo window, and I have a project actually that I can show you that uses that. So here is one that I posted yesterday that uses this die to cut a window. Okay, and I made it into a shaker card. Really kind of fun. All right, and then this one is actually a swap I received made by Karen Duke out in Alberta. And it uses that awesome peekaboo die, and she used it with the glimmer paper, which just looks fantastic. So very, very different dies in this die set. Not just your typical snowflake set. Love, love, love it. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. We, of course, have an embossing folder. We're actually going to use this today on the first card we make, so you'll get to see it in action. We have awesome ribbon. We're going to use this ribbon on a couple of projects today, too. It's iridescent ribbon, so it works with pretty much every color in the paper. You see when I lay it on there, it picks up every color. It's just gorgeous. So I'm going to set that aside because we're going to use it. And then, of course, we have the beautiful DSP. Now, this DSP, I am all about the watercolor washes, right? I just love it. And I love the fact that they've superimposed the snowflakes on top. I just think it's so beautiful. So we have lots of snowflakes on one side, smaller snowflakes in the watercolor wash. Look at this one. Doesn't that just remind you of a frosty window? And some more snowflakes on that side. This one is just like, it looks like frost to me. And snowflakes. Now the dies cut out some of these images, okay? This is my very favorite. We're going to use this one today. I love, love, love that piece of DSP. And again, the dies cut out some of these snowflakes as well. This one I've used so much, I only have a little bitty piece left, but we have snowflakes there and little bitty snowflakes on the back. This one, does that not look like a winter night sky or like a galaxy sky? So love that. And then we've got snowflakes on the back. And then, not included in the DSP pack, but separate, is this gorgeous balmy blue glimmer paper. Now, this glimmer paper is for those who are allergic to glitter. Okay, so this stuff does not come off. Like, I rub it, I can scratch it with my nails, like nothing comes off on my hand. All right, so this paper is husband approved. Okay, you're not gonna have glitter all over your house. You're not gonna look like a disco queen after you use it. It is fantastic paper, and we're gonna use a little bit of that today too. All right, so you ready to see our first project? First one we're going to make is this one. I want to do something really simple that would allow you to kind of see how quick and easy it is to make beautiful cards using the beautiful images in this stamp set. So I'm going to slide this over. I'm getting real shadows today, and I'm not really sure why. I don't normally get really bad shadows, but I'm getting a big shadow from my lamp here. I'm just seeing it on the camera. All right, so we are going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It's 5 1/4 by 4 inches, okay? And I'm going to bring in some of my Snowflake stamps, okay? And then I'm also going to bring in some Seaside spray and Highland Heather ink. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of ombre stamping here. Just need to make myself some room. So we are going to start with the largest image. I like to, when I'm doing this kind of a collage thing, I like to start with the largest image and kind of work my way down. I find it easiest to work that way. So I'm going to open both of these, and we're going to try really hard not to mix our daubers up. So I'm going to put my Seaside spray on my middle finger and my Highland Heather on my index, and hopefully I won't mess that up. We shall see. So I'm going to start by inking up my large snowflake with the Seaside spray. Now then I'm actually going to take my dauber and I'm going to take some of the ink off. Okay, that is just because I don't want sort of a clumpy, like I don't want it to look different from the ink that I dauber on with the Highland Heather. So I just took a little bit of the ink off with the Seaside spray dauber, and now I'm daubering on a little bit of Highland Heather. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my cardstock. And isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. All right, so then we're going to take this guy. And again, I'm going to take some of that ink off with my dauber. And then I'm going to bring in my Highland Heather. And this time I'm actually going to do a little bit in the middle, just to mix it up. And we're going to stamp this guy kind of off to the side. Oh, so pretty. So, so pretty. All right, and then we have this little guy. Same deal. I'm going to take off some of the excess ink. And this one I'm going to add ink in the middle as well. So we're going to add this guy up here. Actually, I'm going to put this guy down here. Okay, and then I'm just going to stamp that off. I'm going to ink it up again. Take off some of the excess. And then add a little around the outside this time. And we'll add this little guy up here. Okay, now I could leave it at that. It's quite pretty, but I love this little collage of snowflakes. Looks like a little snow flurry. And we are going to ink that up. We're going to take off some of the excess, and then I'm just adding a teensy bit of the Highland Heather. Okay, and what I love about this particular stamp is the way it's configured. It makes it really easy to kind of fit it in around the other snowflakes. Like, it just sort of nestles in there, and it's just magical. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hello, Dawn. How are you doing? Hope things are good where you are. And we're going to add a little bit up here. And again, just a couple little, I just do a quick little dab of the Highland Heather because I don't want to completely cover up my Seaside spray. And we're going to nestle one in here like this. It's hard to see what I'm doing because I can't look right at it. Oh, that worked. I'm always kind of like cross my fingers and hope when I'm trying to line things up and I can't look directly down at my project when I'm filming. All right, couple more of these guys and we'll be ready to do a little bit of embossing. We'll add a little bit here. And we're going to do one more up the top just to even this out. We're going to add this little guy right here. There we go. Isn't that a cute little snow flurry? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. You're getting video freezing. I'm really hoping that it is not me. I'm hoping, Krista. Yeah. If this video doesn't work, I'm going to be really ticked because I love these projects today and I want you guys to be able to see them. All right, so now we are going to bring in our embossing folder and our Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Now, I am so excited. Today is the day that demonstrators were allowed to start pre-ordering the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And I'm so excited about that because it's just a little bitty guy and it's going to be perfect for doing these videos. Even though this is much smaller and more convenient than my Big Shot, the mini is just going to be great for pulling in for videos, doing quick little cut or emboss, and away we go. All right, so I need my platform. I need one cutting plate, and I'm going to bring in my embossing folder and my stamped panel. Now, when you are wanting to emboss a stamped panel, you want to make sure you put it in with the stamp side facing the side that has the Stampin' Up logo. Okay, don't put it in the other way or your embossing will be pressed in, it'll be debossed. Okay, if you want to see your stamped panel, you want to make sure you get it in the right way. So I'm sandwiching my folder between my two cutting plates. I'm going to roll it on through. And we'll get this guy out of the way. And look at this. Isn't that pretty? Can you see the pattern on there? I just love this folder. All right, now it's like super quick to finish up this card. So I'll bring the sample back in again. I have some other little bits and bobs here. So we are going to stamp our sentiment. So I have a 3/4 inch wide by, I don't know, 5 maybe. It's just a piece of scrap, Whisper White cardstock. And I'm going to bring in some Smoky Slate ink and stamp Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. Just somewhere centered-ish on that strip. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my tailored tag punch because it's quick and easy and handy. And I'm going to punch a little banner end in the end of my strip. So we're going to just pop that out. And then we're ready to put this on the front of our card. Now, this is longer than I need it to be. I did that on purpose because I wanted to leave some room for my ribbon, okay? So I'm actually going to put my ribbon on and then trim it just so that I get the length right. So I'm going to take some, this is our Seaside Spray Metallic ribbon. It's so pretty and works perfectly with this suite. So I'm going to add a glue dot on one end. I'm just going to lay a little bit around, lay a little bit across my strip here, and then trim a bit off the roll. Oh, these are my not so sharp scissors. I have a pair that are brand new and are super sharp, and then I have a pair that are not so sharp. I should have brought my ribbon scissors over. Okay, and then we're going to tie a little bitty bow. So I'm going to pinch my ribbon between my thumb and index finger to make 2 little loops, crossing my left loop over the right, bringing it around and through, and pulling it tight. And there's a quick and easy, no fail bow for you. Let me just grab my ribbon scissors. They're right here. All right, so let's trim that off. Much easier to cut with proper scissors. And then that is going to go on just sort of at the top of my strip here on a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to press the knot into a glue dot and just press that into place like that. Okay, then what I'm going to do is actually take my strip. I'm going to lay it across the front of my card and use the edge of my card as a guide. So I want to make sure it's straight, and I'm just going to trim it like that. Okay, then I'm ready to go ahead and glue this on. All right. It's going to go on just like that. But first, we're going to glue our panel onto our card base. So here I have a Smoky Slate cardstock base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold this in half, give it a little crisp with our bone folder. And then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive. Wow, my words are not working very well today. I spent the day doing online guitar class from home. It was interesting. I only had 9 kids log in, but lots of talking. So I'm a little hoarse because I've been talking so much all day. All right, so we are going, you know what? I'm going to trim a little bit more off that. That's still a little bit on the long side. I'm going to try and eyeball it. We'll see how this goes. That looks straightish. Good enough. All right, so now we're ready to pop that up. So we're going to add a couple of dimensionals. Oh no, I forgot to bring more dimensionals over. That's tragic. All right, we'll use minis. You know what? I'm going to use the edge because I can. So we're just going to peel that edge piece off and pop that on here. And then I'll add a couple minis on either end to kind of hold it in place. There we go. I gotta grab some more dimensionals or we're not gonna make it through this video. Seriously, we have a crisis here, people. All right, so we'll get rid of these. And we're going to go ahead and lay that across the front of our card and just do our best to get it straight. So I always like to make sure my card is straight as I'm putting these on, right? If your card is sitting crooked, you're gonna have a harder time lining it up straight. Kind of a no-brainer. Okay, and then we're gonna add just some bling, just some basic rhinestones. So these are just odds and ends I had left over sitting around on in my stash. So we'll just add a few. We kind of do 3 sizes. And then these ones are super old. These are from a while ago when we carried rhinestones that had strips. And I'm still using them up. It tells you how many of them I had, right? I had a few, shall we say. All right, and there is our finished card. Now on the inside of my sample, I added a Whisper White layer and stamped another sentiment and some more of those ombre sort of snowflakes. So pretty, quick and easy, and pretty, pretty, pretty. All right, let's get this out of the way. I think I'm good. Oh, no, I need that little guy still. Okay, just want to make sure I'm not putting away things that I need. We need all of those ink pads too. Alrighty, let's get on to the next one. This one is my favorite. I had so much fun. I posted this earlier today. There's some details about it on my blog, but oh my goodness, you guys, I had so much fun with this card, like playing around with techniques. This is a technique I haven't done in probably a couple of years. And I just love the way it turned out. So let me show you how I did it. It's way easier than it looks. This looks really complex. It's not. All right. So would you believe that this beautiful purple card started as a piece of that gorgeous DSP with the pool party and the Highland Heather? So what I did this ahead of time. I started with a piece of the DSP. It's 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I stamped and clear embossed some of the snowflakes. Can you see those? Did they show up? Yeah, you can kind of see them. Now this is really pretty as it is. You could totally use that as a background on your card. The glossy snowflakes just look amazing. Now I do have to say, when I stamped, there was one little strip. I don't know what happened there. There was one little strip that didn't get inked. So when I embossed it, there's one little strip that isn't embossed. I'm not sure how that's going to look, but you know what? Because of everything else that's going on this card, I don't think it's going to matter. All right, so we're going to take our piece and we're going to bring in our Highland Heather ink, and we're going to bring in our dauber, and we're going to start inking this entire piece of DSP. So when I'm doing this, I want to make sure I'm starting over a glossy embossed image, okay? And that just allows me to really spread the ink evenly and not get that sort of spot in the middle of my, you know, when you ink and you get that and you see how you get a circle? I don't want perfect circles in there. So if I always start over my inked or my embossed snowflake, I get really nice even effects. So I'm not putting a ton of pressure here. I'm just letting the ink kind of spread where it wants to, but look at how those embossed snowflakes resist the ink and allow the gorgeous pool party to pop through. So, so pretty. Now this technique has a few different names. It is Emboss Resist. Okay, it's called that because the embossing is resisting the ink as I'm applying it. But when you do Emboss Resist on a piece, on a colored piece of paper, so whether it's DSP or a piece that you have inked and sponged ahead of time, it's called Joseph's Coat. So you may see this technique referred to as Joseph's Coat, also known as Emboss Resist. So Joseph's Coat is a form of Emboss Resist. So if you're looking for other inspiration, if you actually, I actually have a video from several years ago on my YouTube channel that I did using this technique. But it is such a cool one. Now you can see where that little strip didn't emboss, but you know what? I don't think it's gonna matter. We're gonna hide it. We can hide all sorts of things with embellishments, can't we? So I'm just filling in the rest of my panel here, and you see how those snowflakes just kind of pop? It's so, so pretty. Oh, Heather, tell me you're not freezing. Tell me I'm not freezing. Please tell me I'm not. Max is not online. I made sure he was off, so I'm really hoping this is working. It stresses me out when these things don't work. All right, so I'm just kind of evening out my background here a little bit. And I love that it's a little bit soft, right? It's not super, super crisp. I just love the soft look of that. Now, I'm also going to darken down. I'll just bring in my sample again. Do you see how the edges are darker? So to do that, I'm going to bring in some gorgeous grape ink. And we are going to sponge around the edges. Now this is a brand new dauber. I destroyed my other dauber. So I'm just going to start at the edge and kind of come on with my gorgeous grape. Now I got to get this good and inky because this is a fresh dauber and it doesn't have any ink on it already. But by just coming in from the edges, we're going to darken down the edges and just make this entire background just pop. So again, I'm just coming on. I'm starting off the edge and coming on with my dauber. And you're going to see that that just adds a beautiful accent, a dark border around the entire panel. So we'll just finish this up. Now, a couple of tips when you're sponging. If you're not getting great results when you're sponging, a couple of things. Make sure you're not doing this. Okay, we're not blotting the ink on. Do you see the difference? Okay, there's that and then there's that. What we want is that look, okay, when we're blending ink. So we want to make sure that we are always moving in a circular motion. Doesn't have to be the same direction all the time. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever makes you happy. And actually, it's good for the life of your dauber if you mix it up a little bit. But you want to make sure that you're always moving in that circular sort of motion. Okay? But isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. So, so pretty. Okay, now we're not done. We're going to do more because, you know, I'm me and I don't know when to quit. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of the Frost White Shimmer Paint. And I'm going to bring in my aqua painter. Now, our water painters are the same kind of deal. These we used to carry. We now carry water painters. And I'm just picking up a little bit of the Frost White Shimmer Paint from the lid of my bottle. And I'm just going to take and flick that. And it just adds extra depth and texture and makes it look like falling snow. Ask me how I know. I just looked out my window. There's the inspiration. Okay, and the awesome part about this is when it dries, it's sort of pearlescent and shimmery. It's just gorgeous. All right, so we're going to set that aside for a couple minutes and let the shimmer paint dry. And we're going to stamp our sentiment. So my sentiment is actually die cut from the same DSP that we used for the background. Okay, so I cut this with the second largest circle from the Stitched Shapes dies. And I have my Thank You Snow Much stamp. And I'm going to ink that up with some gorgeous grape. And we're going to stamp that just in the center of our DSP. Okay, I originally was planning on doing it on white. And I didn't like the starkness of the contrast against the background. So I felt like using the DSP really softened it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adhere that. Just gonna grab a little bit of Tombow here. And we'll pop that on to our scallop circle. So this is a gorgeous grape scallop circle cut using the layering circle dies. Okay. And then we're going to add some ribbon, some of that gorgeous iridescent ribbon to our panel. Now this I think is pretty much dry. The shimmer paint dries pretty quickly. So I'm going to take some of that ribbon. I'm going to press it onto a glue dot. And I want to kind of hide as much of that as I can. So I need to think about where I want to place this so that I can kind of conceal that little oopsie daisy there. So we'll bring in our ribbon. Hello, Sue. How are you? And we're going to, oh, almost out of glue dots. Out of everything today. We're having an adhesive crisis. I just did a huge order. I just forgot to put some over here. It's all on my shelf. All right, so we have our ribbon on. So now we can go ahead and layer that. So we're gonna layer it on a piece of Pool Party cardstock. It is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive to the back of my DSP panel. And we are going to center that on our Pool Party. And you're gonna have just a narrow little border. You know me, I like my narrow borders. Okay, I just love the way the Pool Party just pulls those snowflakes out even more. And then that we're going to layer onto a thick Whisper White card base. Okay, so I like to use thick Whisper White if I want a white card base. It's quite sturdy. I prefer that, so I'm going to just go ahead and fold that in half. This card base was 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I scored it in the middle at 5 1/2. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and layer my card front onto the base. So we'll pop that on just like that. Okay, isn't that so pretty? Oh, I love it. All right, so now this is going to go on here, but before we do, we have some DIY embellishments. So one of the things I love about these snowflake dies is that it's super easy to make your own embellishments. So what I did here is I took just a piece of regular, well, scrap of regular Whisper White cardstock, and I sponged on some of the Frost White shimmer paint. Okay, I let that dry and then applied some adhesive sheet to the back and ran it through my die cutting machine, and I got these gorgeous, I'm not sure how well they show, but they are pearlescent white snowflakes that will look amazing on the front of my card. So this guy is going to go on kind of right here, this large one. So I'm going to peel off my backing. You just want to be careful when you're peeling the backing off these die cut snowflakes because they are a little bit delicate. And you just want to be gentle as you're peeling the backing paper off. So you have to just kind of tease it off so you don't rip your snowflake. But let me tell you, the adhesive sheets, they are a lifesaver with these things because I would not want to be trying to apply glue to these little delicate snowflakes. So then I'm going to just take and trim the little bit that kind of extends off the edge. I'm just going to take my snips and trim along the edge of my cardstock here. And we'll trim off the bit that's extending. So we'll just snippy snip. These don't take long to snip because they're so delicate. Okay, so there is snowflake number 1. And then we're going to put a larger one down here. Now I'm actually going to put this in a slightly different spot than I did on my sample because again, I want to hide some of that, that little oops there. So we're going to peel this guy off and pop him on kind of down here. Okay, now this is going to go right about there. Okay, so we're going to put that on with a couple dimensionals. And again, I'm going to have to use minis. Oh, you know what? I can use some black dimensionals because I have some. And I don't think it matters because nobody's going to see them. So we're going to use some black dimensionals. Not because I need black, but just because that's what I have here at the moment. And we're going to pop that on. Make sure that's stuck down. Pop that on right about there. And straight is always good. There we go. And we have one more little bitty snowflake. He's going to go on the front, just on the circle there. If I can get the edge off, or the backing off. Come on. Sometimes I have to give in and use a tool because sometimes my fingernails just don't cut it. So I'll get rid of that. Oh, I'm peeling the backing paper and the cardstock. There we go. Don't know what happened there. All right, we're gonna have to trim that off so that that is not messy. I actually separated the cardstock. No wonder I couldn't get it to peel. All right, so we're going to pop this on here. That's a little bit too high. There we go. Right there. And that's just going to extend off the edge. And then we're going to tie a bow. Where to put my ribbon? There it is. We're going to tie a pretty little bow. Heather, yes, the thick Whisper White is heavier than our regular cardstock. It is really heavyweight. All right, so I'm going to tie a bow with my beautiful iridescent ribbon. Now this ribbon is quite stiff and it's quite coarse, like it's rough. So when you're adjusting your loops, you may find that it catches and it pulls both loops. So you have to just kind of really be patient and tease that bow out. It takes a little bit more effort to get a bow out of this ribbon, but it is so worth it. And then we're going to trim with our scissors, and that's going to go on just where the ribbon meets our circle. So I'm going to press the knot of our bow into a glue dot. We're going to pop that on just right there. Okay, what I love about this ribbon is you can fluff it back up and it holds its shape. Okay, it's really great for that. All right, so the last touch is a couple of these gorgeous blue gems. Now they are part of the suite as well. There's 2 shades of blue. There's sort of a lighter blue and then this dark it's almost like an indigo. It's so beautiful. I'm actually going to use the darker blue. And I'm just going to add a couple of these to the front of my card. Just like that. And oh, look at how pretty that is. Now I'll just show you on the inside what I did. So I stamped some more of those gorgeous snowflakes like we did on the last card, but instead of the Seaside spray, I used Pool Party. Okay, so Pool Party in the Highland Heather just to coordinate with what I did on the front. But there you go. Isn't that pretty? So easy and such a wow with that technique. Love it. All right, moving on. Last card is a fun shaker card. Now this, I showed you a shaker card earlier. I posted this one yesterday. So this is a more traditional shaker card, right? It's quite thick. So it may require extra postage to go through the mail. This shaker card is no extra postage required. So this is a great way to do a shaker card that isn't going to cost you more to mail. So let me show you how to do this. Now this is a technique I used again years ago. I'm resurrecting all these old techniques that I haven't done in a long time. But we create the shaker using one of our clear envelopes, and that we don't have the extra thickness of the foam adhesive strips to create our window. So it's so cool. So I'll show you how we do that. So I'm going to bring out, that's one of our clear envelopes. They are in the catalog along with the regular envelopes, okay? And then I have another piece of that beautiful DSP, 4 by 5¼ inches. Now you're gonna find when you put that into the envelope that, oh, that's the wrong way. I want it to go this way. You're gonna find that it is smaller than the envelope, okay? Can you see how there's a gap top and bottom? That's okay. Don't worry, we're gonna deal with that. All right, so now I am going to take, where did I put my, there they are. My sequins. So the sequins that I used here, I actually just had an empty container, so I mixed them. So I have some of the little snowflake sequins, but then I had just a few of the Whale of a Time sequins from the annual catalog. Now the colors in this work perfectly with the DSP. The only thing is there are some little seashell sequins in this pack. So you have to take the little seashells out, unless you want seashells floating around in your snowstorm, which is totally fine. You can have that. If it's a beachy Christmas, maybe you want seashells. But I took mine out. I saved them for something else. And then I just dumped them together in this empty container. So I'm going to go ahead and dump all of those into my card, or as many as will come out, thanks to the static. And then I'm going to just kind of tap them so they're kind of away from the edges as much as possible. I'm going to flip my envelope over, and then I'm going to peel off the backing. There is a self-adhesive backing on these envelopes, so I'm going to go ahead and fold that over so it is tight to the end of my DSP. Okay, so now I have no gap at either end. I still have to deal with the gap top and bottom. So that's how we're going to do that. We are going to just take some tear and tape, and I'm running it right along the edge of the DSP. Okay, so it's in the envelope, but I'm kind of following the edge of the DSP. And I'm going to do it on both sides. Now, you may be able to get away with using Seal or Seal Plus for this. I just opted for tear and tape because I feel like I have more control over exactly where it goes. The tear and tape is in the catalog. It is great adhesive if you've never used it before. So then I'm going to take my handy dandy take your pick to get my backing started here. And we're going to peel the backing off. And then I'm just going to pull this in nice and tight and fold it over. I like to start in the middle and kind of work my way out. and fold that envelope over so I have a nice clean edge and I don't have a gap anymore. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Some of my sequins need to move. Let's get them out of the way. Come on, you guys, move. It's like trying to get my cats to move when they don't wanna. There we go, they moved. Sometimes I need a little more encouragement. Okay, so we'll get rid of our backing there. So same deal here, we're gonna start in the middle and just fold that nice and snug right over onto the tear and tape, and that's gonna hold. And we're gonna have a nice shaker. Isn't that fun? Nice and flat, easy to mail, but they still shake around and you get so much fun, okay? So that is how you do that shaker. The rest is a piece of cake. So I have here a piece of Seaside spray cardstock. It is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So we're gonna go ahead and glue our shaker onto that. Now for this, I'm going to use some seal, and I am going to put my seal right close. I'm gonna run it right close to the edge of my Seaside spray piece. That's because I wanna make sure that the edges, that one didn't go quite where I wanted it, the edges of my shaker get glued securely, okay? I have a mini backing, or mini dimensional backing here that's in my way. All right, so I'm going to layer this now onto my cardstock. Again, I'm trying to do this blind because I cannot see how far I am from the top, but I'm going to trust that that's, it's not too bad. Not perfectly centered, but good enough for Canada, as my husband likes to say. All right, so now I'm going to bring in some more of that gorgeous iridescent ribbon, and I'm going to use up my last 2 glue dots here on my roll. So we're going to lay the ribbon right across the middle of our panel. I'll snip that off. And the last glue dot, where are you? There you are. Good to the last dot. There's a little Maxwell House coffee pun for you. All right, so there we go. Now we're ready to glue that onto our card base. So I have another Smoky Slate cardstock base, same as the first card. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're gonna fold that in half along our score line. And we're gonna adhere our panel to the front of our card. So a little bit more adhesive. You like that idea, Deb? That was actually, it's one that I did years ago, and then there was a demonstrator who demonstrated during Onstage, our recent convention, and she did a card using this technique, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. It's kind of fun. All right, so there we go. Okay, there's our shaker, and now, like, that's just pretty just like it is. Like, mail that. But no, we're gonna add a sentiment. So, remember that shaker card that I showed you that had the window cut out of it? This one? Well, this is the negative, right? This is what you get when you cut it out. So I decided it would make a really pretty label. So I simply heat embossed in silver the May Your Seasons Sparkle sentiment, and then I cut from that gorgeous balmy blue glimmer paper a label using the stitch nested label dies that's exactly the same size. So that's the other cool thing about this die set, is the die coordinates perfectly with the stitch nested label dies, which you may already have, and if you don't, you need them. Add them to your Christmas list. Okay, tell Santa you need those dies. All right, so we are going to layer that. We're going to add a little bit of adhesive, and we're going to pop that on. And the trick with this is you just want to make sure you get it perfectly aligned. So I'm just going to take a second, make sure that's nice and even. Okay, now this has got a little bit of a gap, not as even as I would have liked, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it off. No one will ever know. There we go. All right, and then I have another stitch nested label cut from silver foil, and we are going to go ahead and layer that. Now, isn't that beautiful? Look at the way the silver foil just makes that embossing pop. Now, before we do that, though, we are going to stamp some little bitty snowflakes. So remember that little snow flurry stamp from the first card? We are going to stamp a couple of them in, what ink did I use? Seaside spray. So I'm going to just ink these guys up, and I'm going to stamp them just lightly across. And you're going to see, again, that the embossing, the silver embossing, resists the ink, and those snowflakes kind of disappear behind my sentiment. Okay, so cool. Let's just add a couple more up here. There we go. All right. Now we're ready to layer that onto our silver foil label. Okay, so this is the next size up, and we are going to glue that just flat. Don't worry, there is some popping coming. Okay, and then we're going to pop that on. And again, I can't see to center this, so I'm hoping it's okay. Let's just cross our fingers and toes and hope that's not too bad. Okay, and then that is going to get popped up on the front of our card. So again, I'm going to use some black dimensionals, not because I have to, but because that's what I have. And we'll just add some across the top and the bottom. Now, why am I not putting them in the middle? Well, if you think about it, my ribbon's going to run across the middle, right? And I don't want the dimensionals bumping over the ribbon. Okay, so if I put my dimensionals top and bottom, it's going to lay nice and flat, and I'm not going to have any unevenness where it crosses over the ribbon. So we'll get rid of our backings and pop this onto the front of our card. Hopefully centered and hopefully straight. Okay, and then we're going to tie one more pretty little bow with our beautiful iridescent ribbon. So let's just do a real quick one here. And I just love the way the ribbon takes on whatever color it's around. So on the previous card, the ribbon kind of took on a pinky purple sheen. On this one, as soon as I get it onto the card, it's going to read as the blue, which is just so cool. It's magical ribbon. It's chameleon ribbon. All right, so we are going to trim our tails at a bit of an angle. And now I do have extra glue dots right here. Look at that. I was thinking ahead with the glue dots, just not the dimensionals. So we're going to press our knot. And we're just going to adhere our bow just in the corner of our label, just like that. So, so pretty. And we're done. Now, this is the same sheet of DSP, would you believe? But look at the difference in color. This is much more intense. This one's much, much lighter. But so pretty. Now, oh, got a little bit of goop there. And then on the inside, I heat emboss. I don't often heat emboss on the inside of my cards, but this was so pretty and sparkly, I just couldn't resist. So I heat embossed another sentiment on the inside in silver and then added some more of those little snow flurry stamp images. All right, you like those? I hope you do. Let's just pop those on and I'll bring them all back so you can see the finished product all together. There we go. You like those? Now, before I let you go, I have to tell you the new mini is coming and Celebration is coming in January. Our pre-order for demonstrators started today. I am so excited. I put in a rather generous order, let's just say. Looking forward to playing with some non-Christmas products very soon. But I also ordered a ton of catalogs. So if you would like a complimentary copy of the catalog and you live in Canada and you don't currently have another demonstrator that you're working with, I have posted on this page at the top, it's pinned to the top of my page here, a link to a Google form for you to complete so I know that you want a catalog. Now, everybody needs to do this, okay? Even if I've sent you a catalog before, there have been some technical issues with the transition to the new customer website. Some of the mailing address information hasn't been updating properly. So I want to make sure that you actually get your copy of the catalog. So please, 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 if you would like a complimentary copy, take a quick sec, fill out that Google form. It's just what's your name and what's your address. That's really it. And I'm going to be sending out the first round of catalogs the week of December 14th. Okay, so with any luck, you'll have it in time for Christmas to sit in ooh and ah, and maybe Santa will bring you a Stampin' Up! Gift certificate, hint, hint, that you can spend on the new catalog. Now, we also have Celebration starting in January, and that is where we get lots of freebies, right? Freebies for every $60 you spend. So when I mail your catalog, you will get both together, and I may even have a little something extra in there for you as well. So take a couple seconds, go and fill out that Google form real quick, and make sure that you don't miss out on getting your free catalog. Okay? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy these projects, and I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.